Castle, having a conversation this time with my guy Kizzie Kay. First of all, how's it going, man?
Good, man. How's it going with you, bro?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been busy trying to get more conversations on the go. I definitely got, funny enough, I got inspired by the conversation we had on CloudStream.
That's great. I like to hear that.
Yeah. So if anyone did see that VOD or CloudStream, this is what this topic is kind of based on as well. Me and Kizzie jumped on CloudStream and we had all three of us had a conversation. It was kind of like me to a degree against like Cloud and Kizzie, and it kind of stemmed around the concept of accessibility. And then I reached out to Kizzie because like I was telling him off camera, about how I feel he's one of the biggest streamers that is really focused on improving people's like understanding of games and not just, playing ranked and showing how good you are. So really appreciative that you jumping on. So I guess we should get into it, because I normally ask people like, tell us your origin story. But I mean, you've been around for ages. Everyone knows you. You can drop the origin story if you want, but I feel everyone knows you anyway.
Yeah, but I feel like we want to grab people that aren't familiar, right? So
yeah.
And I always think that's cool. Well, what's going on, guys? I go by Kizzie Kay. I've been playing fighting games for all my life, but I want to say that I've been on the semi-pro arc around 2015, 16, and been working my way up to where I'm at today, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon right now. So I play multiple fighting games. Any game that I really like, I aim to be at the highest level if the game allows me to. And I work really hard, and I have a YouTube that you guys can follow me on. I also have a Twitter account that you guys can drop a follow as well, and I also stream on Twitch. So if you guys like the vibe, you guys like to watch players that play at a high level in multiple games, and also is very student to the game energy, hey, follow your boy. You might learn a thing or 15.
That's facts. I mean, I've jumped in every now and again for sure. Obviously the time zones make it a little bit difficult, but I think when I was kind of getting into games, the person who stood out the most for me was like Juicebox and then like Ryan Hunter. And I feel like
Juicebox is crazy.
Yeah. I literally watched one VOD of Juicebox and I suddenly understood how footsies worked. And I think a lot of that back then was more because you want to get across concepts and ideas and teach people to get into fighting games. Where I think now a lot of content creation is about, retaining viewership and getting more people to view your thing as entertainment, where I think you definitely have that kind of good middle ground. I think first of all, was that intentional? When you started streaming and playing games, did you kind of think, I want to teach people, or was it like a accident where you was playing and you just found yourself answering a lot of chat questions?
So to be honest with you, I didn't want to stream at all, to be honest.
Okay.
In the beginning, because the only reason, so before I even got to the point where I'm at, obviously I started streaming, and I had a lot of people that watched me through Guilty Gear, and they always told me, they said, bro, you should stream. And I was like, okay, I stream. So I did the bare minimum. I was like, I'm gonna stream, and then they started asking me yo, get a subscribe button, and I'm just like, why do I need to get all that? I'm going live, you know what I mean? That's all you need, right? So obviously it moved up to that, and long story short, I started really streaming more often than normal, and it became a thing that I just naturally started enjoying. And a lot of people would come in my chat asking me various questions, and I started just naturally just asking them, and I started asking everybody's questions, and that's how I kind of start. And I think I'm blessed to say that I'm one of those type of people that can kind of talk about what I'm thinking about while I'm playing, and kind of understanding a concept of speaking in a way where it's not too complicated what I'm thinking, but it's is interesting of what I'm thinking, if that makes sense. It's more interesting than complicated. And that's kind of like the idea that I kind of like flow with. And it naturally just works out also because I'm good at the game, you know? So I'm also grateful for that as well.
I definitely think it's, for me, it's not important, but I think for like general people or casual players, it's really important that the person that's explaining stuff is also good at the game. So it's a justification that you shouldn't really need to do, right? If you've got an idea or concept, your accolades shouldn't matter to how much validity it has, right? But you have that. You can back it up.
Yeah, I will say that we're in this society now, and this is like no shade to anybody at all, because obviously, like, I'm not saying like you have to be like this god to like talk about the game a little bit or whatnot. But what I will say is it's very active now that you like people really don't have to have a lot of information on the game that they play. It's more of just like keeping things like interesting. While I am on the boat of like, I do think that if you are very knowledgeable at the game, you should have some type of standards of like language, of like holding yourself like knowledgeable in that aspect. But I feel like now with the audience that are coming now, it's really, you really don't have to know much, really, and it's, I think that it's a problem because when people start wanting to learn, they don't know how to learn. But I've come to the conclusion that some people just want to be a part of the culture, right? But as a player, for my standards and my caliber, I would love for somebody who knows how to play the game, talk about the game and things like that, because it's so much like fun in it, because there's so many perspectives, there's so many variables. So like, I like the juice boxes, and things like that. I personally like that. I feel that we should do more like tables where we just sit down and we like all just share our perspective on things and just like cherry pick on things. But I feel like we don't have that, unfortunately.
I mean, you've literally described like the dream for me. I've gone through like all the phases where I've like played, I've commentated, I've like run events, I've done TO and stuff, and all through it, the moments that stick out for me, like me remembering those moments, were the parts where we were like not playing games. We were like outside, people were smoking, and we were just talking about games after the tournament. The conversations, even if I don't remember like word for word what was said, having that memory of, oh, this person brought this up to me and I never thought about it before, and then we chopped it up. Those are the moments I remember in every situation that I've liked in the FGC. And going on what you said, the only reason I got into the FGC was more because of the culture. Like, I watched all that Marvel stuff and I was like, I want to get involved, I want to talk trash. And then when I started learning the game, I was like, damn, it isn't just pressing buttons or learning the B&B. And yeah, I feel stuck in the aspect of what you described. I just want to hear, regardless if you're a top player or not, I want to hear concepts. Good or bad, I want to hear concepts.
Yeah, and I think right now we're I just think that the way how internet works after the pandemic, I feel like a lot of people are just more afraid of like expressing themselves and being like not as knowledgeable in certain areas, right? And it's an ego thing, right? I personally look at it as like, you're strong enough to acknowledge that you don't understand something. You're seeking for like a point, or like you're confident of like expressing yourself to the belief that you believe in, but you're also confident of like taking information and adding more fuel to your knowledge without making yourself think that you're wrong entirely. You get what I'm saying?
100%. Like, a lot of my I'll say debates just because it's easier. A lot of my debates aren't really because I want to prove you wrong. It's because I care about truth and things being reasonable. And the only way I can have like more confidence in what I believe is if I challenge it against other people's. So if I'm asking questions, I'm not trying to catch people out. I'm trying to be like, prove me wrong so I can believe the correct thing. That's all I want. I just want to know the right answer, if there is one, or I can bolster my belief or what I'm convinced of by understanding everyone else's. Because I mean, you see all like the scrub quote stuff and people saying having like crazy opinions, but if you just like hand wave those away, you might miss something that's really important or something that could make you second guess.
Exactly.
But I think, like you said, it's one. It's not really profitable. Most people aren't into the things that, I mean, what we've described, right? Like Juicebox is a very acquired taste. I can sit there for like 2 hours while he describes why Ryu's crouch in medium kick is slightly better than Ken's crouch in medium kick. I like that. And you can't really force people to learn things like footsies and neutrals and like zones and spacing. But I think if we, like you said, have a panel or something, and even if you've got like your favorite personality talking, I think that will be more appealing to the casual audience.
I agree. And again, it's all about wording. And I think the problem is right now is we just have too many factions. And too many factions means that there are very niche groups. And because it's too many factions and everything is now becoming niche, if we start coexisting and blending these factions together, it doesn't become niche anymore. It becomes a community, right? Or it becomes a group of, it becomes a organization of people that have variable perspectives and are cool with each other's perspective. I think the problem is because people don't hear how I say something outside of like clips and things like that, people will have a narrative about me, right?
Right.
And that's a problem. It's because if you look at things now, everything is by 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, right? And you might hear something within that 2 minutes that be like, that person actually doesn't know what they're talking about. But you didn't hear the whole picture of things, right?
Yep.
And I think that's the problem of why we don't have these like sit downs, like these tables. We don't have that because we only know each other by a sequence of coming in of something really quick. We only got microwave food. We haven't had anything that was in the oven, anything that was like on the stove. We haven't had any of that taste. All we got is like microwave knowledge. And I think that's the problem, that why we're not in this situation now that you envision. It's because of that instantly, bro. Nobody wants to go to, why would I fly 18,000 miles to go eat some microwave food? That's the logic, right? Why would I go over this place if what I have here is already good? I like it.
Yep.
What makes you think I'm gonna like it there? You know? But when you bring the source towards the place that they're not sure they're gonna like, and the person's like, yeah, I acknowledge this, and I want to like share our recipe, aka knowledge.
Yep.
Let's share our knowledge. And then when the person hears, they're like, oh, it's not that bad as I thought it was. You know what I mean? And then it kind of like opens the door for barriers for not only players like us, but the newer audience as well.
Yeah, no, I think you're super right. Like, I can't even add on to that. I think the microwave knowledge is like the perfect way to describe it, because I think a lot of people, and I think this is like just human nature, right? People get like a knee-jerk reaction to buzzwords. So even if it's crammed into like a minute, they're listening for like 3 or 2 words so they could instantly disagree with. I literally had this like 3 or 4 days ago when I had a conversation with Suki, an Australian player. She uploads stuff and whatnot, and the conversation was about zoners versus rushdowns. And like you know how I talk, because we've had to talk before. I kind of went in memey, like Giga Chad, like, look, if you play a zoner, you're cultured, you understand footsies, neutrals. If you just play rushdown, you just snort crayons. Like there's no skill in it, right? So I went in like that, obviously, because like you said, I think my technique of trying to get people to listen to concepts, not even just me, just concepts, is you have to hit with something that they can disagree with. Now, if I say rushdowns are like brain dead, people are gonna be like, what do you mean by that? Then and it's kind of sneaky, but I feel it's the only way to get people to engage.
Yeah, you have to throw buzzwords, and it's like, but you have to throw buzzwords, but it's not. I wish people were more knowledgeable of how things work, because it's not about you; it's about the audience that we're trying to bring.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Because they don't know any better. But if they hear the word brain dead, they will instantly trick. That will instantly like, oh, that person, oh, who suck or who's not thinking?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like all these like thoughts. You know what I mean? And like, it's not necessarily like negative as to like malicious, but it is a word that will get people to respond.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just think people are not mature enough to really understand that. And it's okay, because we're in a time where there's a lot of content creators in the fighting game scene.
Yep.
And there wasn't like this 5 years ago.
Yeah, I hate having that kind of like rose tinted glasses where it's like back in my day, like we actually talked to each other, like, but I do feel it kind of was like that back in the day.
Yeah. Back in the day, you could actually talk to people, but now there's a lot of people. There's a lot of eyes. You know, I'm gonna keep honest with you. There's a lot of eyes on all of us, and like, you know, shout out to Perfect Legend. I have no issues with him, and like, you know, I talk to him privately, and we don't agree with anything, but I have utmost respect for him. Why? Because, you know, he did a lot for his time, and regardless of what anybody has to say now, like, you can never take away what he had, right? But, you know, nobody wants to be a 13. Nobody wants to do the 13-0. Nobody wants to be the 0 side of the 13-0. So nobody and anybody is not strong enough to like put themselves in a situation like that. And because there's so many eyes at you, like, you know, the moment something happens to you bad, everybody laughs at you immediately. You know, and the only time somebody doesn't laugh at you is when you play the victim card, right? Or, you know, get really sad and things like that. And then people will encourage you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, nobody did that for PL, right? Because of the audience that we were in. It was all competitors, right?
Yep.
Now we have gotten a bit bigger. There's a lot of people in the culture that is a little diverse, which is totally okay. I'm okay with that. I like that. I support that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that also does not build. It loses the competitive nature in anything, even disagreements. You know, being right or being wrong. You know, instead of somebody telling you why they think you're wrong, they'll make a video about why you're wrong.
True.
Right.
That's so true.
Why? Because if you use a buzzword and you make the video, people are going to look at that and be like, yeah, those guys are stupid. And you know what's crazy? Like, that's what happened with Panda. You know, like, hate it or love it, but like, Panda made all these Guilty Gear players as doing things do what we did. And like, I'm happy that we did all of this. But, you know, even like, I have to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, you guys hated on us so bad, but you guys are doing exactly what you guys hated on. And I think it's funny that it's only okay. It's not okay unless I do it. And then when I do it, it's totally okay. Right? Yeah. So that's the kind of like the environment that we're in, which hence goes into what I'm saying as in, yeah, it's too many eyes on us. Nobody wants to be on the 0 side of a 13.
It's we didn't plan this. The PL thing, I really want to talk to him as well, because I have the same outlook as you do. I think not just what PL's achieved, like he's won Evo, first of all. That goes right
twice.
there. So
Twice?
Yeah, not even once. It wasn't a fluke. He did it twice. He's been Playboy Mansion. Like, he's written a book on how to play
MLG.
Yeah.
MLG.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone remembers the one set.
13-0. Yeah, the 13-0. Ever since then, everything fell off, and I think from then it just hasn't been good for him. And I think what happened was, you know, he was on top of the world, and he just couldn't accept that Sonic Fox, they were the best in the world. And I think at a time where, like, you know, it's cool to talk shit and like try to be competitive and things like that, but like, even some of the great players acknowledge that they're great, but you just got to be like, I'm also great, and I'm not going to lose, rather than just saying like, oh, this person got lucky, they're doing this. It doesn't look good when you make excuses.
Yeah.
It's either you do it or you don't. And I think that's where he failed.
Yeah, that's the ripple effect of that one interaction. I feel almost
knocked it all out. Yep.
Because obviously, if you didn't watch all those prior Evos, you don't know about.
You don't know. Exactly.
He's just some guy who got washed. That's what a lot of people know, and it's really disheartening. I can't be mad that people don't know the history, right? I can't be mad that they don't know about his accolades and what he's done and his knowledge. And it's annoying that they take that one part of what he done and they reflect down everything else he says. He can have, sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong, especially on Twitter. I've had interactions with him once when he was talking about skill versus talent. And when he's trying to present his case, instead of engaging with it, people just be like, what do you know about skill? You got 13-0'd.
Yeah, you got 13-0. Yeah, exactly.
How are you engaging what you're not proving him right or wrong? You're just memeing and you're not bringing anything to the conversation. So,
but those are the buzzwords I'm talking about. Like,
yeah.
We're in an arc where somebody could literally say some factual shit, and the next thing under that will have the same traction and viewership, and it's a meme.
Yep.
And then everybody is following something. And like, to be honest, like, I think some of the memes be funny, you know what I mean? But like at the same time, nobody ever publicly put their self like out there. Even though like he's wrong in that, like for example, like the seeding thing. I'm like, PL, like you're capping. Like you're capping so hard about the seeding things because you literally got seeded throughout your whole like Evo run. Like you can't complain about something that you took advantage of for like years, right? So I disagree with him on that, right? But am I gonna dismiss everything else he said? I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna say like, yo, you definitely capped there, but I'm not gonna just dismiss everything you say. And just because you got 13-0, I'm not gonna hear you out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Some of the most wrong people kind of have some of the most best ideas in a unique way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think PL might be the only person in the FGC that can tweet "the sky is blue" and people will give him side eyes just because of a match, just because of an exhibition, right? Like, it's all from people. Stupid. It's all from people who didn't do anything. That's the worst part, right?
Have the most say. It's always somebody outright disrespectful. Like if Punk was being disrespectful, like Punk is one of the greatest players ever. Like he be like, yo, you said, I'm like, whatever, right? But it's coming from people who I've never heard in a bracket in my life, like attack a player at his caliber. Like you're not even at that point to even say anything, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like that's the accessibility of like challenging things. Like, I told people for 2 years, I said, I don't think Kai is that good. And I was like,
in Strive, in
Strive. In Strive. I'm like, I don't think Kai is that great. I think this character is very weak. And like a player will start doing like run up dragon punch, run up throw, and be like, yo, Kai is godlike. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with Kai. He just so happens to be playing Kai. Like that, you could do that with any character. And like because people don't understand like, fighting games at a certain level, they only see X character winning. They're not seeing how they win, because no one asks how. People just be like, this is it because this happened this way. And that's kind of like how things are. If that happens, then that is the buzz thing, right? It's like, it's like the best player in the world. I look at it as like the student of the month. Anytime a tournament comes on and that X person won, that person's the best. And then next month, another person won, that person's the best. Short attention span, and I don't blame the consumers. What I want the consumers is to have fundamental knowledge about why things are the way it is. And they don't have to be like a great player. I just want them to understand like calibers of things, right? And everybody that shouldn't be like discouraging and at all, because there's calibers in anything you do. Calibers at people, high caliber of people typing on a keyboard, high caliber of people, being like a waiter, what is those bussers, the people that be changing the tables and shit? That's a talent.
Yeah.
All of that is like caliber skills that you just naturally develop. You're just naturally gifted at being able to push it to a higher boundary of levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just because it's hard to do doesn't mean it should be hard to understand. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. With me, I basically agree with everything you say. But there's one thing that I try to always do when I get into that zone of like, oh, I want people to do X, blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, what can I? If I don't do anything to try and remedy that, then I shouldn't be able to complain about it. So basically, like what you're saying to me is like, I just want people to think critically. I don't want them to agree with me. I don't want to just argue with people. I want them to think critically. I want them to see a tier list, and the first thing anyone should do is like, why is this character here? Not it's wrong or it's because they're from JP. That's why it's like that. Everyone should be asking for more information.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? A prime example of what you're talking about happened this past weekend. You know, I was one of the few players that everybody like. I watch it. I made even a video about it. You could look it up. I was watching Lord Knight's video, and you know, he said something like, "Oh, I think Soul is in the range where, you know, he's only good for like counter picking." And I said, "Whoa, that's crazy! Like this character is mad good." I was like, just because he got like combo changes doesn't mean this character's bad, right?
Right.
But the problem is we had no prominent Soul players that were actively playing the game, and the only best Soul player at the time don't play the game.
Right.
And like, so we had no like prior knowledge of how good this character could be, right? Because nobody in the Strive community don't like Punk, they're not asking Punk how to be good with Soul.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But he was our best Soul at the time. But the problem is because everybody had egos because, you know, people was like, you think Strive player sucks? Well, I'm not going to ask you for tips, even though you're one of the best players in the world. And like, you know, you're winning with this character that's considered bad. And even he said, I think this character is still good, right? But because nobody cares about what he said, nobody got prepped for one of the best players in Japan that's been playing Soul for 20 plus years, came at Arc Rebel Finals, lost the first game, and 3-0, 3-2 everybody else.
Yeah.
Is it a fluke?
It's obviously not. It's obviously not.
And it's like, this player literally came in and he showed how to whiff punish, you know, how to do all this. And the problem was, and like, you know, a lot of American players, they play within their friends group. They don't go outside of their friend group and try to like learn different styles, you know, and they don't want to lose because again, nobody wants to be on the PL side of the 13-0.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't want to play, because they don't want to be on that side. Because when people see people lose, instantly, this person's washed, this person sucked.
Yeah.
I was actually streaming today, and a person came in my chat on everything. Came in my chat and was like, "Oh, the reason why I haven't followed you is because you haven't. You're full of yourself, and you think you know all of this, like everything, and you never won anything in Strive." And that's why people are not a fan of you and Strive and KOF. And I was like, when I thought about it, I was like, that was actually a well thought out tweet or statement in Twitch.
I respect.
And the reason why I said that is because he specifically said Strive, because he knows that every game I played at the highest level, I won that shit. And like, I'm glad that he only acknowledged that it was only one game. So that's what I thought to myself. I'm like, yeah, he's actually pretty, you know, thought out. Yeah, I haven't won shit in Strive. Yeah. Anything important? Yeah. Because that's the only game I didn't win in it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about anything else? Nah, because you're on that hate and energy. And again, because I'm at my vulnerable state of not performing well as I do in all the other games I play, people who are literally nobodies feel like they have power to like say something that's going to break me. But that shit is not going to break me. I know I'm fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? I know I'm fucking good. You know, obviously in certain games it hinders my skill and I have to learn other skills, and I'm open to that. You know what I mean? But to say that, like, to try to like use that to like hurt me is like foolish. It actually makes you look more stupid.
Yeah. I've said this about with my commentary, and I've said to other commentators that don't like looking at comments. I'm like, I want to see haters because, like you said, sometimes if you get I think there's two different kind of haters. You get like the ones that just throw shade everywhere, and you got people that direct hate. Now, the person you're talking about, yeah, they're a hater, but they were critical, so they thought about what they wanted to target and say, and what they did is they covered their bases. Like you said, they said strive. They didn't say fighting.
They said strive. They didn't say fighting. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, damn, that's actually pretty funny. Yeah, I actually laughed about it. I was like, you know better not to say anything else. Yeah. Like, you know, whatever.
Regardless if they're right or wrong, though, you can take something from that. And that's why I did. It's not about the conclusion, right? It's not about they were here. It's about the process. Exactly. It's about the process.
Yeah, exactly. And I was impressed. I was like, yeah, you worded yourself very thoroughly for only saying strive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would kill for like more people like that. Yeah, it's not ideal because it's still like just people being, you know,
it's a hater at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's the being anonymous gives everyone a power up. Everyone's like KO Ken
because
they can't get followed.
Bro, everybody's UI Goku when you don't know who they are.
Exactly. When it's just like a couple of words on the screen and there's no like you can have any word you want. So when you go to an offline or even if you don't and you just stay online, the power up, the entitlement that you feel you have to tell everyone what you think is insane. Couldn't be me, but you know, like you said,
bro, I kid you not. There's people that was running their mouth about me. I see them in public, and like the energy is like so silent, bro. Or some that these are the ones I respect. And they'll come to me and they be like, "Hey, man, I just want you to know, like, I did come at you kind of like hostile, and like I kind of thought about it, and I just want to say I'm sorry because you did get me into this game, and like, you know, I just have a different perspective on that." And I was like, bro, I'm not like, I didn't want you to like always agree with me. It's okay to like have your thoughts, but it's the respect that is like I ask. Like, if I'm not calling you dumb or bad or crazy or anything like that, don't say that shit to me.
Yeah,
because if you call me that, I'm gonna pull up your receipts, and if that shit empty, don't talk to me.
Yeah, I'm the same on Twitter. I just match energy.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. If you want to have a civil conversation, I can do that. And to be fair, PL, when I talked to him, he was mad civil. He was mad civil.
Even though I don't agree with him, he's a very civilized individual.
Yep. He matches energy. As soon as you bring up the 13-0, which has nothing to do about the point normally he's tweeting about, like when he was doing the Dragon Ball tournaments and everyone's talking about his match with Sonic Fox and MKX, and I'm like, they don't even correlate. Like, what is him playing Dragon Ball got to do with this? Doesn't make any sense. He had like tier lists and stuff. He was like, oh, TN's the best. And it'll be like, what do you know? You got 13-0 in another game. I'm like, you're going to have to make the connection better. Maybe there is a connection, but you need to present it. I can't see it. But yeah, like, I think the critical thinking part, and going back to what I was saying, earlier, is what can I do to make, how can I make the situation better so I don't have to moan about it no more? And I think this is kind of why I started doing these conversations, because I thought, even for myself, talking to you in cloud, completely different perspective, you guys are obviously way better at games than me. I might watch more games as I commentate, but you play them. So we have two different perspectives. I'm definitely a hater when it comes to the community. I'm like, I mean, this is going to go into the conversation, right? It was basically about you guys wanting games to be more accessible, and I'm just saying get good. And I was trying to get you and Cloud's reasoning to make me not be so get good-ish. Like, I don't want to be like that, but I'm convinced that that is the answer. And that was how the whole conversation came around. And I wanted to ask you kind of more to explain it to everyone else, because I think the people I hang around with know what I think, and they might be influenced because of how I talk. I'm very like forthright and like stubborn. Like, I'm stern. When I say something, I'm like, I'll say it with my chest, and I'll say it over and over and over again.
I feel like any strong individual that is knowledgeable and that are open to change has to have a level of stubbornness.
But this
because
is what
you can't just fall. You can't just fall for everything. That person has to sell you. You know, you gotta be a strong consumer if you want to be a very knowledgeable person.
This is true, but I am the biggest fear I have, pretty much in life, is to be in an echo chamber and I don't know it.
So, dude, that's bro.
Yeah, I don't want
bro.
that.
And then when you find out, like months later, you're like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like, why did no one pull me up? I was talking absolute madness, and I was just sometimes I'm scared that I'm surrounded by yes men or people that don't even care, and they just say yes because they don't care enough. And that's why I reached you, because you was mad passionate about the accessibility thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like, I listen to the echo chamber, and I grab the words that I hear from the echo to try to bring into something that I feel might be sensible to like move forward in life, right? Or make things more easier for people, right? And again, like, to talk about the accessibility thing, right? Like, there's a certain level of accessibility that I look at. Rollback is one,
right?
You know,
yep.
offline game modes is one.
Yep.
That's part of accessibility. And I have always said that if they could do something great where the player who is playing fighting games does not have to just go into a match and play other people, that is the great accessibility of that I'm looking for. Because they have so many variations that they can just do without engaging with people who are competitive. Right? Kind of like League of Legends, for example. You know, like the ARAMs game type, right? That's not the game type that the players that won the finals played in.
Right.
That's a whole different game mode. And like, I like that because that can just let them just do what they want to do and give them fun activities to do that does not hinder the competitive nature for all games. Right?
Right. Yep.
Notice that all the accessibility games outside of now, let's go back to 2015.
Okay.
Accessibility for Street Fighter 5. The accessibility of Street Fighter 5 was making the game easier. Adding a comeback factor, adding like button priority, like all these like weird ass mechanics that is like makes it accessible for them because they don't know what's happening. But oh yeah, by the way, you get time attack and survival mode. And like those were the only things that all the new players at launch can play. Yep. So obviously everybody starts in bronze. So when they start running to players that are good at the game at bronze, it's going to discourage them. Oh, I suck. There's nothing to learn. There's no training mode. There's no tutorial mode. It's just walk forward, walk back, throw a fireball, throw, and that's it. No accessibility like Street Fighter 6 got. World mode. You know, world mode.
Yep.
World mode, you can create your character, you know, all these like fun things. You can do like fun shit. This is before you touch the game.
Yep.
This is all of that before you touch the game. Why do you think Monster Hunter is so popular? It's because the first thing they do is they bring you into the game and they tell you, how do you want your character to look like?
Right.
Right off the bat.
Engaging.
Accessibility. Right? Now, obviously, when it comes to the game modes, that's why I am so passionate about controls, modern controls, for people that want to just play the game because they just want to hit the button and do the shit on the screen.
Okay.
You got the dynamic mode. So those people who don't want to learn, they can just play the game and have fun, right?
Yeah.
The people who don't want to learn. Imagine people who don't want to learn and they have to play on the same control type as me. You understand what's going to happen to the game?
Yeah.
They're going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Oh, let's add this button here. Let's add an auto attack button. Let's add an auto combo. Let's add all of this. Because we just not going to make a control type for new players. And the craziest part about it is like, bro, have you been following Grand Blue Relink?
A little bit.
Bro, they made a controller type scheme for handicapped people. You know how that's accessibility, bro.
That's sick.
Think about the monitor controls that can help disable people.
That's crazy because literally it was only like 2 days ago we was talking about, I can't remember what we was talking about, but we brought up Broly legs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people don't know about Broly legs. Like,
yeah, he's ridiculous and he's bro. he got to the caliber level that he's in disabled.
No help.
No help. And like, not everybody is going to be as driven as Broly. You know, there's everybody in this world. We are driven in different levels, right?
Yep.
Some have a high adrenaline level. Some have a moderate. Some is very low when it comes to doing things. But he had that driven level at the max and got to where he's at.
Yeah.
Right?
11 out of 10, 100%.
11 out of 10. You had to be 11 out of 10 to get to where he's at, right?
Yeah.
There's no 10 out of 10. You have to be 11. And what I'm saying is not everybody's the same, which is why I support companies who make control type for those individuals and not hinder the core concept of fighting them. You know, adding all of these factors in because you just want people to feel good. How about make them feel good by making a layout for them? And then giving them stuff to do outside of fighting.
Yeah. I think even when we was talking on the cloud stream, a lot of what I heard, it might have been me just in the zone. I was just like too hyper focused, and everything that was being presented to me sounded like have this in the game as the base, and then remove what makes it difficult. And that was kind of my angle. My angle was like, well, if you change, for example, we was talking about Xrd and delay wake up, and I was like, I get what you guys are saying. The game, even to fighting game players, I know a lot of like Street Fighter players that were like, oh, playing Xrd, I can't do meaties. I can't do a flowchart meaty. It's too inconsistent. I don't like it. Where I, like myself and some other people that were playing the game were like, no, it's more rewarding. I feel reward. Mind you, I played Leo and I normally just heavy boom the people's wake up. But besides that, if I got like a timing down by eye or from like prior knowledge, I'm like, oh, they're face down with Sin. I know it's 42 frames. I'm going to do this setup. To me, that's rewarding. That's what I play games for. I play fighting games because I have an ego and I want to feed my ego by doing difficult things in hard situations consistently. That's my thing. Right. Yeah.
And that's cool. But what about the people who don't have egos that want to play the game?
Yeah. And there's more of them.
Yeah. And there's more people that don't have egos and there's more of them. And I'm saying like there are other ways to incur that can boost our ego that we get. There are other mechanics that can be implemented that can also do the same thing that mechanic can do. And I truly believe that. I believe that in many ways. Like, you know, like even though like Strive IBs are not as good as older IBs, but people definitely feel themselves because it's 2 frames.
IB throw,
you know,
it's something to be like. You see that? I'm sick nasty, bro. I'm sick nasty,
right? You know, there's other ways that can do it. I don't think that's the good way, but that's an example, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying like games can do that. Like Street Fighter 6, like I think what is a good ego boosting is Drive Rush.
Okay. Interesting.
Because you got plus frame.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Drive Rush, right? But V Trigger was an ego base, right? Oh, I don't care if I'm losing because if I get a one sweep into V Trigger, I might kill you. That was definitely a ego feeling because people thought they were good. Honestly, people thought they were good. Oh, I'm losing random sweep V Trigger. Oh, I'm in.
It's weird because I think of stuff like Marvel where maybe it's definitely an extreme in terms of comeback mechanics, right? V Trigger and like X Factor, for example, or Dark Phoenix. And it's like, yeah, technically it is a way of boosting your ego because it's like, I was going to lose and look what I did. I changed everything. But I know there's a lot of situations or characters in games where that like comeback, which is meant to make you feel like I'm that guy or girl, can be taken away because of how accessible it is. So if someone does a comeback with Virgil with X Factor, nobody cares. Do you know what I'm saying? With V Trigger, there's going to be a moment if it's on a really strong character or like Bison. If Bison does like slide into V Trigger, people just roll their eyes. They're like, oh well, he might two touch you. It be like that sometimes. Or with G would do punch V Trigger, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm guessing for the game. Or Mika, do you know what I mean? So it's those, like, I cannot disagree with the fact that there are mechanics that can raise everyone's ego but doesn't lower the bar of skill. I can't conceptualize it, but I'm not disagreeing that there isn't a thing like that.
Right, and that's why I am glad how 6 is doing it, because it does have that ego feeling, but it is not as like the win condition is not as accessible.
Right. Okay.
You know, but the move itself is. You get what I'm saying? And that's what I'm okay with. I'm okay with something being accessible like that. Because, you know, like for a casual, like they start turning green and shit, and they running at the opponent, they start doing shit, they probably feel good. They probably feel good about it, right? But imagine like that was like V-Trigger, where like they could just dash in your face and like V-Trigger activate, right? And like, you know, there's no hurt boxes and things like that. That's what I'm saying. Like it's accessible, but there's a lot of repercussion. You know, there's two life bars in the game. And like, as a smart player, you'll be able to understand that. And like, that's where the ego comes in, is being able to be more knowledgeable than your opponent and being able to execute that knowledge and not just be hindered from, you know, mechanics that are just bare bones and outright strong.
I'm trying to think if I value the knowledge or execution more, because I think when I was talking to you before,
I'm a balance. You value execution, and I'm okay with that. I value both, and I feel like if I had to lean towards one, I will always value knowledge, because at the same time, knowledge is execution as well. Being able to remember a situation is still execution.
I agree. The thing is, it's weird because I am not the execution guy. My execution is trash, but I think that's why I appreciate it more, because I can't.
I appreciate it too. Yeah, I do. I appreciate it. Anybody who plays Marvel, even though like, you know, Zero's doing lightning loops, that shit is actually, nobody can pick up and just do it.
Yeah. He's not a pick up and play character for sure.
Yeah, and it feels like nobody really is, except for like Hulk, you know?
Yeah, Hulk, maybe Hagar, even his combos go for you might not need execution, but you need a long memory, because those combos, drop kick combos, you have to remember how many grab balances you've done, and so yeah, like I could happily play. Have you heard of a game, Yomi Hustle?
I seen what's his name play? Jibbo plays.
Oh, has he played that?
He plays that.
It's like it's for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's like a turn-based fighting game. So you you type in. Technically, you don't type, but you punch in the fighting game option you would be doing in that moment. I looked at that and I was like, they've basically drawn out the only part of fighting games what I like, which is the mind games. I love the mind game part of fighting games. That's the only bit I really care about. I learned combos because that's the only way to express my mind game. I'm not good at it. Like I wish I could play something like, I don't know, C Viper in any game that she's in, or Seth or Johnny. I hate Johnny, but that's because I've been on the receiving end of Johnny. If I could do his combos, I'll probably play him. So I think the angle I was coming at is like, I appreciate that. And if you make games too accessible, I don't mind a little bit too accessible, you take away a part that not just me, I think a lot of people, even casual players, can look at and respect and go, oh, do you know what? It's a fighting game. It isn't just people pressing buttons. I think it's really hard to get across the mind game aspect to a casual audience without having to tell them frame data, legacy, hitboxes, hurt boxes, spheres, and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's why I wanted to try and keep that, and maybe use something like Cross Tekken Gems or Multiverses perks to kind of even the playing field. So we don't have what you were speaking about earlier, about a new player jumping in, getting washed, and they have no idea why. That's like the worst feeling in
that's
any game.
The worst thing. That's the worst thing for every game, bro. Like, you just playing a game, and first thing you do is getting clapped. Yeah. You know, for a lot of people, people are just like, oh, I don't like this game, right? Yeah. For me, I'll be like, yo, what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? Right?
Exactly.
And I'm trying to like,
we're the weirdos. We're the weirdos, though.
Yeah, we're the weirdos, right? So I'm like, oh, let me try this, right? And things like that. But not everybody's a weirdo, you know, and that's okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, cool, right? So, you know, now we just gotta we gotta make a game, a fighting game that makes the weirdos excited while also making the non-weirdos more accessible of welcoming weirdo, right? Okay. And the way we do that is we take away certain barriers so they can kind of peek over through the window like, oh man, he's like the SpongeBob and the Patrick, running around in the circle and Squidward just like looking. We just need them to see us, right? We just need them to look at us, right? They could be mad or happy, but we just need him to see it, and that's kind of like what we're trying to do is just make it, don't lower it too low where it doesn't make a game unique, but lower it enough where it allows them to just understand the game. That's it. And that doesn't take a lot. All you need is a controller type, because that means that they could choose whether or not they want to do a combo, they want to learn the game or not, or they just want to hit buttons and complete like task or like complete story mode and things like that. Like they just want to play like that. Cool. They could go over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we have our weirdo playground where we got the people who got an 88,000 win streak.
Yeah.
Other people calling this person trash and things like that. And then guess what? Those players that are over there can watch us. And what that's going to build? Interest. I want to learn how to do that.
Yeah. I think, because I think of a lot of the times when people like challenge or like have a different perspective of me, I'm like, okay, let me try and imagine me being in that situation. I think it's nearly impossible for most fighting game players to remember first coming into fighting games, because it's kind of like chasing the dragon, right? You're never going to get that high that you got the first time. You're never going to be able to relive that. I always say, like, it's very hard to go back to just having fun with fighting games once you learn frame data. Now the knowledge is a burden.
Once you know it, it's part of you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. You can't go, oh, that was fun. That was like, I didn't see that happening. It's like, no, now. You can't unknow frame data. When you see like casuals play and like one person does wake up DP and they do an attack and they get hit and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. And everyone else is like, well, that's obvious. That's how the game's programmed to work, right? Once you get that knowledge, the burden makes it so you can't just be like happy-go-lucky. You can't do that anymore. So I think it's hard to go back and think like that. I do try. So even listening to what you're saying, I'm like, when I think about what a person trying to get from like a casual to, I don't know, just go to an offline, not like a pro or a veteran, just from casual online to casual watching YouTube videos to, oh, let me try and even play online like a ranked match. I think the content creators are the key part. I think, yeah, the devs should be pulling their weight, but they haven't been. They've been slacking for the most part. But I think if someone sees you, I always remember the Flow. There was a video Flow did when he did the trials for May in Exard. Yeah. He did the trials for May in Exard. And I was like, yo, this guy is like a god player. Like, he's super underrated. He's super sick. He's got the executions. And he was struggling in that. And I'm like, that really... it's a strong word, but it humanizes top players. And I think if casual players see really strong players struggle in something, that could be a motivation.
That they like it. Or it could be a motivation, or they could be like, oh, I could cope with this person because I also struggle.
Yes.
So I'm not the only one. But that lowers the fear of fighting it.
Yeah.
Alone. But that's the thing is people don't record their struggle. A lot of people don't record the struggles. People only show themselves winning. I have matches all over my stream when I'm literally getting my ass whooped. I have no confidence. I have no fear showing me losing because I mean you have to lose. You know what I mean? Like you're going to lose. There's nobody who never played a fighting game and not lose.
Yeah. Easy. That's for sure. I'm thinking, there must be a balance between people not showing that, like you're saying, like people don't, upload their losses. Do you think there's also an element of people that don't like watching that struggle? Because I remember like when Street Fighter 5 came out, you shouted out Jibbo already, and I'll shout him out again because a lot of what I learned from Cross Tekken was from Jibbo. When I saw him playing Street Fighter 5, I was like, bro, Sagat's cool, man. I always liked watching Bonchan play this slow-ass character, just controlling space. Jibbo played Sagat in 5. I was like, I'm going to watch him. He would get the spreadsheet up. He would like play a match, a little bit of T-mode, play a match, bit of T-mode. And when he lost, he would break down why he lost. And I'm like, this is cool, but do most people want to watch it? So I think there's
I think
what do you think?
it's going back to what we were talking about. The zero. Nobody wants to be on the 0 side of the 13.
What, even spectators though? So like, if you're like a Jibbo fan, seeing him lose, do you think they would want to see that?
I think people will want to see it. I'm saying the person who is watching themselves don't want to see it.
Right. Yeah. Most people are like that.
I'm not going to put this person on blast, but I was watching their stream in the morning because they're streaming in the morning or they stream randomly at night, and they will be, they'll talk about all the stuff that they used to be ridiculous and this, blah blah blah. Talk themselves up to people that don't actually really know, and it's like common practice, right? And like all the points where they're about to lose, they like skip, they hit the fast forward. And like I laugh because I'm like, ha! So you don't watch yourself lose. Yeah. And some people don't want to be the 0 side of 13. They only want to see themselves win. They'll only see themselves winning to the point where they watch the same clip over and over and over again.
I mean, I will, in that person's defense, I agree with you. I think when I used to watch VODs, when I was like trying to be like super competitive, I was like, I don't learn anything from watching the matches I won. I did the right thing. I already knew the answers. I need to look at the answers I got wrong. So I only watch my losses.
So honestly, believe it or not, sometimes you could win and actually do something wrong winning. So I watch both. True. Right? Like if it's a close match, I'll watch it. If it's like a 3-0, I'm like, bro, there's nothing I could learn from.
Yeah.
If it's like a match where like it's really close and you still won, you still want to look at like the things of why it was close, right?
Yeah.
And like learn some of the things too. Like I learned a lot about that too, and then I'll think about it and then I'll reflect on it, sleep on it, then the next day attack it. But a lot of people just don't want to watch themselves lose. A lot of players don't mind, and I actually know very little players don't mind watching themselves. But everybody else, they just want to talk about how much they win, which is it's cool because it's like it's a popularity contest, right? It's like, oh, check this out, I won. Look, I won. People are like, oh wow, he won everything. So clearly, he knows what he's talking about. That's how people sell their self, right?
That's the justification. Yeah, for sure. I should have said I don't watch. I don't watch when I watch someone. That's when I don't learn. If it's a close match, for sure. If
it's first round pulls,
get
it over with, bro.
But yeah, what I was going to say is, I think the human side of people not wanting to watch their loss is very I don't want to say normal, but it makes sense. It's reasonable because especially in fighting games when you're on your own, when you watch that game back, there you can look over your shoulder. There's no one there. That's a you issue. Like you did it incorrect. And when you understand what you do wrong and then you do it again and again and again, it is really disheartening. So I get why most players don't. But if you are good enough to win, you are good enough to acknowledge that. I think it goes back to what you're saying about kind of like a responsibility. You have a responsibility to not gaslight your audience by just showing them wins and that, oh yeah, if you do what I do, you'll always win.
Bro, every sports player that is like the best sportsman, bro, they all had a coach, whether if it's the head coach of their team or an actual other player that is also good. You watch basketball?
Nah, not big over here. Basketball.
You're not big over here? Okay, so I'll give you an example. So like, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, used to text Michael Jordan advice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ask for advice and shit. That's a coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a coach, right? You used to hit these players up and ask them questions like, "Oh, I like this technique. Like, how do you utilize this technique?" So every player acknowledge that they want to get better. They have to acknowledge their faults and ask for advice. There's nobody in this world that did not ask for advice. I don't believe in it. In anything they do. even the best soccer players, bro, they are good friends. They might be playing each other, but after that, they'll definitely call each other and shoot the shit. Why? Because when you want to be great and you see somebody else is on the same level as you, they're all the only people that can understand you. So you need to talk to somebody that understands you.
Yeah.
Period. If there was what language do you speak?
English, just about. And I can.
Do you speak any other? Speak any other English?
I can pick out English, bits of like French and tiny bit of Italian. Like I can pick out. I can't speak it, but I can listen to it.
Okay, cool. Let's just say, for example, you're in English. You speak English, right? And there's 500 people in a crowd, and it's only me and you that speak English. Are you gonna be far away from me, or are you gonna be close to me?
Yo, you give me a piggy bank, mate. I'm not going anywhere without you.
Exactly, right? So then we're gonna ask each other advice. Yo, like, do you want something here? I'm gonna go over here real quick. Where you gonna be at? Blah 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 blah. Because we're only the two people that can communicate. So we are throwing away our pride and all this other shit, and we are trying to form an alliance.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's how you become stronger. Is you do get that. You get that help regardless if you think you know it or not. Period.
Yeah, I think this like circles back to like the objective for people. I mean,
yes,
I think it's one of those situations where it's like I can't expect everyone to think the same way I do. Like, but if I come up with if I'm convinced of something, I have to go to like axioms. I have to think like, okay, what are my values? What are my goals? What's the objective? I can't just say good or bad. I need to go, well, what makes something good in this situation, or what makes something bad? If the values are different, people are going to come to different conclusions. Sometimes people aren't wrong because of their conclusion. They're wrong because of the process. So someone can think something different to me, but the way they got there was totally reasonable. And if I believed what they did, I would come to the same conclusion as them. So some people aren't wrong because they just got the wrong answer. It's like maths. The working out was incorrect. So the conclusion they came to, the answer is right to the wrong maths that they tried to work out, right?
Right.
And that's what I think people don't always grasp. It's like, why? I remember when I was getting to commentating, people were like, well, what? One of the shouts to the twins over here, the Denton brothers, they were like, oh, why do you want to commentate? I was like, I didn't really think about it. I just thought it was fun. But because I didn't have a goal, I would literally just be talking rubbish. I'll be talking to my co-commentator, forgetting there's a match that I need to present to viewers. Do you know what I mean? And I think, like I said, people like Cloud, Jibbo, and all the other people we've mentioned, like Ryan Hunter, for me, the goal was to come away and have more knowledge than I did before I turned on the stream.
Facts.
But even though I think that's super important, and I think everyone should have that a little bit. I think a lot of people, when they watch content,
if you're part of the culture, you should have a little bit of that. Yeah.
But I think some people only want entertainment, and I think sometimes you have to sneak in nuggets of knowledge. I think you do that.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
That is my goal.
But
my goal is to be as entertainment, but also put a little bit of like salt.
Yeah.
Black pepper.
Yeah, the classic salt bay.
Yeah.
But do you think there's any, we can't like mandate that every other content creator does that. This is the problem, right?
I think that is the case. And I think, like, believe it or not, a lot of people don't believe what I said, but the person who really does it really well in a lot of ways is Maximilian. I think he is a knowledgeable, where it is a little bit of like, obviously it's not deep like what we want, but it is a certain level of deepness where it like clicks for the average player, right? And I don't know how he does it, to be honest with you. I'm impressed. I'm like, damn, like he could literally sell a flat tire to a bike. You know what I mean? Shout out to E40, bro. Like he could do it. He could do it. You know what I mean? Like he could do it. I don't know how he does it, and I don't hate on it, but he does it to that point where it is like broader, and and like obviously like he has like it's entertaining as well.
Yes.
Because of like how the the editing actually makes it even more better too. So shout outs to his editor. Like they have like a amazing team, right?
Yeah.
And all of them. But and obviously he's big enough where he's like he's in the scene, but he's not in. Like he I feel like he's like on top of the scene. If that
he's beyond. He's beyond.
Yeah, like he's on top of the scene, and like when he want to look down and like put his hand in, he could do it. Right, like you know what I mean?
Oh, you've got
it's like Galactus. It's like Galactus, bro. You know, he's fucking Galactus. You know what I mean?
Literally. Yeah.
But people in the scene, I think the reason why we don't have it like that, and people are just only entertaining because memes are so popular. Yeah. And like bro, I could look up like somebody YouTube video, and they'll have like videos that do like 100, 200. But they'll put like a 40-second meme video about like Soul, and like that shit just shoots up. And because people just like memes, and it's so easy to like gain attraction to that. It's a buzzword. And that's called a buzz video. And like people are using that to just always get views. It's never like the both of them. Right? It's never the both. It's always just one. People like I give an example. Like there's some people when I first started YouTube. I know who said it, but like I'm not gonna put their name out there because I don't want other people to try to disrespect them, and I don't want them to think that like I'm coming after them because I don't give a fuck about them. Okay. More power to you. You can have your money. I don't care. But when you start fucking with my money, just know that if I see you in person, I'm gonna talk to you about it.
Okay.
Right? When I can. But I haven't seen them in person like that to the point where I can sit down and talk to them. So I ain't gonna say anything. But I acknowledge what they did. And what they did was they created a narrative that I don't produce full video gaming, and like all I do is like post clips. And in the back of my head, I'm like, not everybody's gonna sit here and grasp 18 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm feeding it to a individual that have never came here. I am not trying to feed the people who are already in here. The reason why is because you guys are already in here.
Yep.
You're already eating. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm trying to get the people who the people who are like have no villages and shit. Trying to get them into the culture. So everybody can eat.
Yeah, I get that.
So everybody can eat. Not just me. Like they could come I could bring them in and they could just be like, yo, I like this place over here better. And my whole goal is we got them in. You get what I'm saying? We got them in. You could go wherever you want to go afterwards.
They know you're there. They know you there.
Yeah. But yeah, they know I'm here. But there are some people that don't, they have like this thing where they don't like it when they are on par with somebody else. So what they got to do is they got to bring that person down. All because I was just doing something productive for everybody. You get what I'm saying? And again, I'm not going to put them on blast because I don't hate them, but they have animosity towards me. So that's something that they have to figure out. And that means I'm doing an awesome job if they stoop that low to do that. You know what I mean? That means I'm doing a fucking fantastic job.
Yeah. If they can't overtake you, they have to drag you down to their level.
Yeah, they got to drag me down. And that's cool. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? If that's how you want to do things, like, just know that, like, I'm a petty ass motherfucker. And when the time comes, I will unleash my pettiness. And I'll do it in a way where it's not disrespectful with what you did, but you definitely going to feel some type of way. You know what I mean? And that's just how life is, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's what it is. But my time will come. But prior to that, I wish people would be more of entertaining and also knowledgeable. But the problem is we only have the people that are just memeing and a lot of people that don't have a resume to even talk of the knowledge. But the problem is people only see that person as a knowledgeable person. So everybody thinks that person is knowledgeable. You know, imagine if 10 people just say, "Yo, C4, you're the best commentator in the world." You know what happens when 10 other people show up? You're the best commentator in the world. You know what else when 50 other people show up? You're the best commentator in the world. So when you have a take on commentary, guess who they're gonna listen to?
Yeah. That's the chamber, man. I don't want that chamber. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Nobody
wants it. And the best way I could say, the best way I can always say when you're not in an echo chamber is when your best friends don't agree with you all the time.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
When you're not, when you have close friends that are like that, you are not in the echo chamber.
Yep.
And it could be about something petty too. Like, you know, I argue with my friends about like how many people are going to enter Evo, and we make like bets on it. But that alone makes me feel like I'm not in the echo chamber, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I may feel like I'm like at an odds, but I still believe, and I'm still willing to take that bet. Proves enough that you're not in the echo chamber.
Yep.
That interaction wholeheartedly right there.
Yeah, I think there's one key thing. I thought about this way too much. Like identifying who's an actual friend to me. And there was one thing I noticed is that people that don't really class you as a friend will tell you you're wrong. Real friends will tell you why you're wrong.
Yes.
They will explain to you why they think you're wrong. But people that don't care about you will just say, "Nah, I don't agree. You're wrong."
Yeah, you're wrong.
There's a couple of exceptions. Some people just don't like conflict. But personally, I don't know if I could be friends with someone who just just throws their hands up every time you disagree with them. I don't think I could talk with that person because I'd be too scared to hurt their feelings or walking on eggshells. So I need a little bit of like friction. And again, it helps me understand my thought process because I can't think outside of my brain. So I need other people's input when I say things. And yeah, that's again, it circles about why I don't want to be an echo chamber because I can never, it's like circular reasoning. If I think this and no one's ever showing, oh, well, it could happen this way, then I don't know any better. It actually makes you actively stupid by not having your ideas challenged. And I mean, yeah, I think what you've been saying is something I've thought about doing this year, is to kind of challenge with memes. I hate memes as well because it's a weapon. It's not dangerous. It's literally a weapon. It can be used for good or bad. I think it's being used for bad mostly, but I will, if someone says, oh, even if it's something mundane, like this is a tier list, and I'll be like, oh, you know what? Perfect example, Strife. So a lot of people didn't want to eat humble pie when they mocked every JP tier list when Happy Chaos wasn't at the top. Now look, now why is everyone? No one said sorry. No one said we was wrong.
No one said sorry. Why? You know why? You know what they said? One of the players said it for everybody. They said, shout out to Tempest. He said, we should be mindful about what other people view of what's strong in the game and not belittle and joke about their
said that.
Character. They said that.
That needs a retweet. I'll scroll for that later. That needs a retweet.
Yeah. They said that. And like, to be honest, no one's not gonna say my bad, but that tweet alone was like everybody OS of an apology. It was like Tempest obviously meant it by heart.
Yeah.
But everybody else who didn't say anything OS that as part of the apology on their behalf. Thanks, Tempest. Yeah. Thanks for playing at the highest level at that event, and representing me and my takes and my cap takes and losing. Good shit. Thank you.
Yo, I didn't think about that. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's how the internet works, bro.
Oh, bro, no accountability. That's another point.
No accountability, dog. Exactly, bro. Zero. Negative count.
Bro, when I saw those results, I like what we do as EU players, like especially on like shout out to Damascus on Wanted and stuff. We'll make jokes about we'll make jokes about EU's the best. You will never hear me say that again. Not after how wrong we was with the tier list. I won't do it. That's my apology. You will never hear me talk about how good we are because our players might be strong at pressing buttons, which is cool, but our knowledge is clearly whack because we all said that Soul was trash. People were like, I'll never lose to Soul.
Yeah, crazy. And then another thing too is like, you know, one of the reasons why you won't lose to Soul is because you won't play the Soul play.
True.
So of course you will never
true,
lose to Soul, right?
True.
Because people think they're so good enough that they don't have to fight certain characters.
Yep.
And I I have two things to say. For one,
Mhm.
you could go to my Arc Live footage, and when Strive started, I literally said, yo, I want Tempest to win because I know that he really want this, but if you want to hear how I really feel, out non-biased, the match that's going to determine who wins the tournament is going to be Mochi and Numenheim.
Ah.
Yep, I said those two players have the highest chance of winning. And what happened? He lost, and then they played again, and he won, and then guess what happened? Mochi won the tournament. I literally said that match is going to determine who's going to win the tournament. Because I thought Numenheimer had a high chance too. And honestly, his biggest break was against Skill, but I think he could have beat TY. I honestly genuinely think he could have beat him.
Yeah.
But Skill was playing ridiculous, so Skill's OD, you know. But I was like, yeah, those two players is going to determine who's going to win the tournament. If I said those matches, it's going to be bad.
Did you get any pushback in the chat though when you said that?
Of course, everybody. Dude, yeah. I literally even said, I asked people on Friday before the event. I said, who do you guys think is going to win? A lot of people said, like, I think Umisho's going to win. I said, to be honest with you, I think Umisho is going to do the worst out of that 8. And they said, why is that? As I said, because the international level of like the best players in that region, they don't have any experience. All they know is the stuff that they've been doing with the character and players falling for. They don't have any type of like experience about like adjusting themselves, because when they play, they don't ever adjust. They just do the thing even stronger, right? And they play amongst their friends, so they know their friends well enough. But do you know a person who knows how to play footsies? Do you know how to play a character that actually is going to like whiff punish you? Like, do you have like that knowledge when you know what's happening? You don't, because you don't play the people that do it. You don't, and it's your responsibility. At the same time, it's our responsibility for players that are considered good with no skill set that makes you good.
Right. Yeah.
And what happened? They went 0-2.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Handful of people.
That's the Evo champion, by the way.
Yep.
Out of all the people that were in there, that was the only person that won Evo.
I mean, yeah, I'm letting that sink in for everyone listening, because it's the crazy stat.
Yeah.
If anyone did like a fantasy bracket, they literally lost at round 1.
Yeah, they lost at round 1.
No one would guess that.
Yeah, that was our Evo champion.
With
I think
Chaos.
Happy
Chaos.
Chaos.
The best character in the game.
The best character in the game. 0-2.
Yeah.
Lost to Numenheimer. I mean, lost to Tempest, and then lost to Zando.
Yeah. Zando plays against Tiger Pop a lot, so they've got fairly good matchup knowledge. But like you said, I think especially in Strive, I feel more than most games, cultures definitely determine people's playstyles.
I do agree.
I think with like
Generations too.
Yeah,
Generations as well too.
That is true, because I watched Numenheimer play, and I think the only Nago we have over here that's similar is Verix, who will literally just walk backwards and forwards and play neutral. They don't use like the jump scare as a crutch. They don't have to do like Fukuos and stuff. And they're the only two players. They look like they play like they've got a modded version of Pot. That's how they play. They're like OP Pot players with a sword now. And I'm like, that's scary, man. Like, they are super frightening to watch.
Yeah, they are. And the problem is like, because the character is so broken, it doesn't promote discipline. And I told people that, I said, I think Numenheimer is the best in the US, and I think he's going to probably place the highest. And I think Mochi is the best in Japan, and I think he's going to place the highest. And what happened? They both placed the highest.
Yeah.
Mochi won the tournament, Newman got third.
So how do you teach that critical
Of
thinking?
course.
That's the thing, right? How is that? How do you make
how
that
do you
accessible?
teach that?
Yeah.
Is that table that we need to talk about, because
Right.
again, it's only my faction that understand. That's the problem. That's going to be the problem forever until that gets solved. But I have a plan. I have a plan in Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
I do.
All right. Obviously,
it's gonna have a handful of people.
Good. Yeah. I think there's obviously,
and I want to welcome more people to do it too. It's not going to be like an exclusive. It's going to be a thing that I want everybody to be on board when it goes well.
Yeah.
Well, I have a plan.
I mean, say less. I don't mean to like spill the beans on it. If it's from like I said, I think even from the concept of a table, people chopping it up, throwing ideas, there doesn't have to be a conclusion. It's fine to be like, I disagree, but I understand. I think the understanding part is probably the most important thing from a discussion, because if you talk to someone for like an hour and you still don't see how they've got to their conclusion, either you are a bad listener or they're a bad talker, and you need to get that across, especially if you're going to be talking to a bunch of people. If you've got loads of viewers and you can't get a point across, or your viewers don't know how to listen to what you're saying, you can cause damage. You can cause like real damage. You can cause a mob to think wrong things.
Dude, I'm to the point where shout outs to Evie Lynn. She's a very close person in my life, and like, you know, she's always helpful, and she always tries to like help me out when I try to like when I have questions about like trying to be like, how can I be even more accessible? You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I bought me this. She sent me a link for this. I bought me like this tablet, right? This is a tablet where you can like draw on. And what I do is I now start drawing on the, like through my stream, like lines so people could see what I'm talking about. I even made a video about it recently.
Oh, I saw the video you did about zones,
the
right?
Zones.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and like that's, I'm even going to that point. Like I'm trying to be the perfect, you know what I mean? Like I am trying to perfect it, right? Yeah. So I am trying. But shout out to her for like helping me. Just help me out. She helped me set it up and everything. She's amazing. She's an amazing ass person.
That's good. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw someone use, because I've got Magic Pen. When I was streaming every now and again, I would be like, oh yeah, like there's, in my head, I like to make sure words have really like specific definitions, just so when I try to talk to someone, I can go, keep away is this, zoning is this. They're not the same. I'm not using the words interchangeably. So I would use the magic marker and a pen to be like, if I'm keeping you away, this is where I'd go. If I'm trying to zone you, this is where I'd go.
Right.
And it's a lot easier visually to get a casual player to understand concepts instead of saying, oh, I'm over here and they're there, right? I'm trying to think of the last time I saw anyone use that. Maybe Sajam on like replays.
Yeah, well, I know Sajam do a lot of replays.
Yeah.
And you know, he's really good at like just talking about like the basics of what's going on in the replay.
Yep.
As far as that, I don't know who else. I don't know who takes that to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I am taking it.
Yep. Just assume that no one's doing it and you're the first person. You have to do that way.
I'm gonna be the first person, so I'm gonna just go ahead and knock that out. But you know, I'm doing my part, and I want to be able to grab every faction and like put this in a table.
Bro, just hurry up and get it done, man. Oh, you said Street Fighter 6, right?
Street Fighter 6, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll be there.
Right. The problem is right now is I'm gonna be honest. I feel like a lot of Strive players, they don't really coexist with me, and that's totally okay. Generational misunderstanding. You know, like I'm from the older generation, they're from a newer, so like, you know how the people who are young think they know everything. You know, they're going through that phase of like, you know, they think they know everything, and like I'm not their father, so I am not the person that is going to like try to like I can lead you to the water. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you don't want to drink it, cool.
If you want to dehydrate, it's up to you.
Yeah. But when you want to drink it, just know that the energy ain't gonna change. I got you.
Yeah.
But you know, I can't do it with Strive because of just the barrier, the language barrier that I have with the Strive community. It's a huge language barrier, and that's okay. You know, I made that barrier on my own, and that's to make sure that I'm not an echo chamber. I mean, like whatever barrier that is cool. If the people who rock with me, they know me. That's all that matters. But for 6, I have even a more bigger plan that I want to do to educate the essence of great fighting game interaction.
Yeah, that to me, I guess this is turning into like an echo chamber because we're just agreeing with each other. But yeah, I like that concept.
I disagree.
I think you're wrong. Like, let people stay dumb. Let them stay dumb. Let me put monsters more money for the top players. I think getting across like what you said, you didn't just say Street Fighter, you said fighting games. I think that's mega important. Like, we're gonna wrap up soon because it's nearly an hour and a half. But I think again, it literally circles back. When I watched Juicebox's footsie video, every 2D game made sense to me. Every single 2D. And he got that across with Bison and Makoto. Like,
he did.
And everything makes sense now. Anything that's 2D. I still need to learn like 3D and platformers and stuff, but just the like counter poke, like it was like, oh, that's what they're doing. That's the mind game. I want to do that mind game. I want to play like high speed mental RPS. Like, and then I realized, oof, I'm not about this. I'm gonna pick a zoner. I want to RPS you at a range where 2 of your options don't work. But I wouldn't have got to that conclusion unless I knew the aspect of fighting games, not just a particular fighting game or fighting game. So this thing sounds like it's gonna be fucking amazing and something needed, because I think you was talking about like the generation thing. 09ers had that. So when they came in and they had that energy, that arrogant energy, they had the videos to back it up, because that's when Juicebox and Jibbo and Ryan Hunter were doing their shit. Even Maximilian with Assist Me. Like, they had that. What are they got now? Like, in the comments, let me know. We might not see it, but let me know.
We have memes. We have memes. We have memes.
We have JP's washed up. That's
what
we got.
We have JP washed up. The region that was dominating, that literally has been dominating for since the anniversary, as of late, for Guilty Gear, and all of a sudden, we had a pandemic and they couldn't travel, and like everybody thought we were good.
Yeah,
because we were playing amongst each other.
Small pond, very small pond. I'm definitely doing something you said you was doing about you've identified an issue and you're doing something about it. My idea is to attack with memes. Even with the recent tournaments, Fenrich won Dragon Ball, and obviously Mochi won Guilty Gear. There was another.
Why they play amazing set, by the way. I'm so surprised we lost. But the drop combos in the bracket reset, that shit stacked, bro.
I don't want to make OSs because he's from France, but Fatigue. He won an LCQ, then had to do that losers run. I'm gonna call Fatigue, but even that happened. The 09er and me came out. I was like, you know what? People react to memes. The only thing I tweeted, someone showed a tweet about the last like world tours, and they were like, oh, JP won like 4 out of 5, and I was like, oh, guess nature's healing, and that was the tweet. Nature's healing, because for years, since like, especially in the Dragon Ball scene, from when Goichi stopped playing, everyone's like, yeah, JP's washed up.
Noko.
They were like, Finrich ain't beating anyone. That's all I heard. For like a year, from JP World Finals last year, they were like, JP's not winning nothing.
Bro. That's the pandemic, bro.
Yeah, it clouded people's vision.
Yeah, it clouded, bro. I think people being like having a lot of eyes on them has really influenced a lot of people in wrong. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm strong enough to acknowledge that what happened to me.
It is unfortunate because I only see it from mostly I see the perspective from commentators. Commentators thrived in COVID because there was more online tournaments that needed commentators, right?
Yeah, everybody's a commentator.
Literally. All you need is the Blue Yeti.
You know? All you need is the microphone, the headshot microphone like this, as the profile picture in there, dog.
Easy. I mean,
it's like that for a top player too. You win an online tournament like 3 in a row. Oh man, this dude is one of the best players.
Yep, and everyone in that tournament will listen to what you say.
My goat. Yep, my goat.
This guy knows he beats me all the time. He knows what he's talking about.
Classic. My goat. Yep, my goat.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk again for sure before hopefully before Street Fighter 6.
I'm 100% down to do this.
Yeah. No, we'll do some more topics because I mean maybe you convinced me and I didn't even know because we didn't even disagree with anything. It really did come down to I want accessibility, so no, sorry, it's not even really about accessibility. I want hard stuff. You want a way for new players to get to the hard stuff. You're just coming at the problem from different directions.
Exactly. That's all I want. Is I want them to have a pathway to get to the hard stuff.
Yeah. And I just don't touch the hard stuff. Leave the hard stuff there. But
I say I'm gonna use a better word. Revamp the hard stuff. And the way you revamp that is you build a bridge to get to it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
See, the problem is back in our days, we had to just jump. Like we had to just jump like half screen to like get to the hard part. We had to just jump. You know, we're literally like we're just literally just hope, bro. We're just jumping from like city to city, dog.
Just
get to the hard part. Yeah, Jump King. Like that's up, right? We have to revamp that. Not everybody's a Jump King.
Yeah, like Jump King, no manual.
Yeah,
no YouTube guys.
On God. Crazy.
You're literally jumping up and then seeing what you need to do. Like that's how we got our games, bro. Like that's it. If you weren't in touch, if you weren't an SRK, the chances of you being good were slim to nothing.
Very slim. So
yeah,
we're fixing.
Yeah. That's what it's about. But yeah, like I was saying, we started at different positions and was running the same race, but we were starting from different positions.
Right. And that's just my goal. My goal is to try to have people get a bridge that just helps them get to the hard part.
I'm down. You won me over.
Let's go. That's all it was, bro. Like I said, I'm a man of I balance it. You know, I want both.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I'm still gonna use memes, even though we
have
them.
Dude, it's cool. I use memes too. Yeah. I got all Kevin Hart's, bro. Kevin Hart's memes have been some of the best. The Iron Man shit, all of that, bro. I'll throw that motherfucker out the window, bro. I'm like, keep that shit.
Sick. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna have to have a conversation again about the scene because I think this is important, especially with Project L, Street Fighter 6, MK, all these new games. Like more eyes than now are gonna be looking at us. They're gonna be thinking, is it worth putting money into these guys? And as long as we got critical thinking, I can't see why not. But that's what's lacking. There's too many sheeple following ideas, regardless if they're correct or wrong, but they don't know why. That's what I want. I want you to know why you are doing what you're doing.
Right.
And I think we're on the same page on that one.
Good.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't want to eat into too much of your time. You're a busy guy. You've got people to educate.
Yes, I missed that one. Educate.
I want you to educate.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you trust me enough to respond and do this shit. So I'm welcome to coming through again. If people want me to come through, I'm 100% down. You let me know.
For sure.
And yeah, man. Like, thanks again. But yeah, I am probably going to take a shower and get ready to head to my friends.
Cool. All right then. So yeah, that will be all the information for Kizzie will be down in the link. Like I said, if you don't already know, then I don't know what rock you found, one of like Oro's Tengu rocks, but the links will be down there. Follow this guy. Yep. If you want to learn, if you want to be entertained, if you want to get goods, definitely hit the links below. But that'll be it for another podcast from the castle. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
Yep. and I end it.
Yeah, and see.